Hello, this is Erica LaShawn. It is July 2nd, 2022. It is 5:22 p.m. Welcome to my channel. Like I said, my name is Erica LaShawn, and I'm glad you could make it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Today, I want to talk about this is a topic that I wanted to do years ago. Again, I didn't want to do this one, but it's kind of fitting, and I know a little bit about this subject. Today, I'm going to talk about famous people or celebrities who grew up in foster care or went through the foster care system. Some stayed, some had a quick run, and some were adopted out of foster care. And I got this topic because I still work in the child welfare system or industry, and I was a foster care worker for a few years, and then I was a therapeutic foster care worker for maybe a year or two. And the difference between the two is a foster care worker. My duties at that time, I would visit my kids once a month, make sure their basic needs are met, make sure that, just do an assessment, make sure they have adequate food, clothing, shelter, sleeping arrangements, and no hazardous conditions. So that's basically, the format or whatever. So you stop by once a month, and I'll make sure the kids are doing okay, make sure they're thriving, and also to report any progress or problems or any issues that are going on within the home. Sometimes it's a good fit, sometimes it's not a good fit. Sometimes the foster parent and the child don't gel, and then we would have to find new placement for the child. There were times where one time I came to work and the child will be in the lobby with the bag that they took to the home. So the parent is like, "Look, I can't. I just can't." And there's so many reasons why. I may get into that as I go on, but so yeah, it all depends. So just starting off. Oh, I was thinking about this because I was gonna share this information with the kids on my caseload, because I wanted them to know that just because you're in foster care it's not a strike on your card of life. You can still grow up and become successful, and they're not alone. Unfortunately, I was unable to share this information. I don't know if I was overwhelmed with cases, or maybe I was scrambling trying to transition into another job. I just never got a chance to share this information with any of the kids on my caseload. So some of the stuff, some of these celebrities or famous or well-known people, the information is out there. It's known information. It's not a secret. Some of these people have spoken openly about it. So the first one on the list, and I have a couple of different uh, um, sources, but so Eddie Murphy. I knew that even before I started looking into this, because he's spoken openly about it. Him and his brother Charlie, they Eddie Murphy just touched on it one day during some interview I was watching. But so, and it just goes into each person has a brief little snippet, and if it gets too long, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just want to really focus on the person at hand. But Eddie Murphy is one of the highest grossing Hollywood stars in the world. We know the movies, we know all that. I don't have to, billions of dollars in movies sales. And so it says when he was 8 years old, Eddie Murphy's father, a police officer, was murdered. Just a year later, Eddie's mother, because she became seriously ill and was unable to care for him and his brother, so they were put in foster care while she recovered. So, and I remember Eddie saying that they didn't stay for a long time, but their mother was unable to care for them at that time, but they ended up going back home. The second one is Colin Kaepernick. Didn't know that one. So it says whether you agree with his sideline situation or not, you can't deny that Colin Kaepernick is a great quarterback. Since starting his professional quarterback career in 2012, Kaepernick, am I pronouncing his name right? Kaepernick has broken many records in the NFL. Kaepernick, the youngest of three siblings, was put into foster care and then adopted. Another success story of the foster care system. Steve Jobs, didn't know that. Steve Jobs was one of the most successful businessmen to ever live. He created Apple computers and was fired from it. Fired. I was about to say fired. Fired from it. Saw it was during the absence in the 1990s. He started Pixar Animation in the meantime. I didn't know that. And then he was rehired to Apple, and it turned around into one of the largest companies in the world. The iPod, the iPhone, the iPad are all of his brainchildren. Jobs' mother gave him up when he was born in San Francisco in 1954. He spent his foster experience with his soon-to-be parents until they could adopt him. John Lennon, didn't know that one. Imagine a life without John Lennon. If he and the Beatles hadn't formed music, wouldn't have made many of the leaps during the 1960s. After all, the Beatles are one of the biggest examples in history of a group that was greater than the sum of their parts. He made Paul McCartney better. Then they together made George and Ringo better. John Lennon represents one of the most common forms of foster care, that of a relative taking care of a child for a parent who cannot. Here in New York City, we call that kin gap, and that's gonna come up later. When that term is gonna come up later, but we call it kin gap here. So, kinship foster care is when a family member will host you. It's not a stranger. So we call it kin gap. Same thing. The difference with kin gap and regular foster care here in New York City is that from what I gather, we don't visit as much. So it's kind of a plus because you don't have a worker coming over every month. Oh, I know foster parents get tired of it. I used to be like, oh God, again. But and then foster care is different because it's kind of like you live with the families. There is no, and later in my career, I moved into investigative work and things of that nature with the city or whatever. But, and with investigations, it's 30 days, 60 days. It's like 60 days, boom, open and shut. I'm closing the case. I'm either indicating it or it's going to be unfounded, depending on what the details of the case were. But so back to, I think we were on John Lennon. John Lennon represents a common form, which is a relative took him. So Lennon was raised by his Aunt Mimi for most of his childhood. While Mimi was never a fan of his early musical aspirations, she did a wonderful thing taking John in. Neither parent was around to do so. Marilyn Monroe, didn't know that one either. Few people have the notoriety of Norma Jean what's her last name? Mortensen, aka Marilyn Monroe. A model and actor, Monroe would become one of the most famous people in the world thanks to her career and the people she hung out with. Monroe's mother had a history of mental illness, and Marilyn spent many years away from her mother and in the care of foster parents. James Dean. Marilyn Monroe wasn't the only 1950s icon to receive foster care. James Dean, though he only starred in 3 movies, is today one of the most recognizable actors in the world. Dean's mother died when he was only 9 years old, leaving his father in the lurch. After they moved to Indiana, James Dean was mostly fostered by his aunt. Willie Nelson. Willie Hugh Nelson is one of the most famous country western singers of all time, best known for his songs On the Road Again and Always on My Mind. For well then 50 years, he's been producing songs, and at 84, he hasn't slowed down much. He still tours around the country regularly. Nelson was born during the Great Depression. After being abandoned by both parents, Nelson was eventually fostered by his grandparents. They were the ones who introduced him to music. Ice T. You know Tracy Morrow. I never knew his last name really, aka Ice T from someplace. They're trying to be sarcastic. You may know him from someplace. After all, he's a rapper, heavy metal musician, songwriter, actor, author, and record producer. For 17 years, he has played a police officer on Law and Order SUV. While recording labels have attributed Ice-T's parents' death to a car accident in order to make it seem more tragic, Ice-T himself acknowledges that both parents died of heart attacks during his childhood. After that, he was fostered by two of his aunts in Los Angeles. This environment heavily influenced his coming careers. Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong is one of the greatest trumpet players of all time. For 5 decades, his amazing playing made him a top record seller as jazz, and he became very popular. Armstrong's parents, unable to care for him, sent him to live with various relatives in New Orleans during the early 1900s. Cher, born Sherilyn Sarkisian, Sarkisian, is one of the most successful singer-songwriters of all time. It all started when she and her husband, Sonny Bono, released the hit single, I Got You Babe, in 1965, and she's been making music ever since. She's also praised for her acting in movies such as The Witches of Eastwick and Moonstruck, in parentheses, winning an Oscar for Best Actress for the latter. Who else? Alonzo Mourning. Oh, back to Cher. Due to an illness, Cher's mother was unable to take care of her for a time, which meant that she was fostered by her grandparents. Okay, Alonzo Mourning. Alonzo Mourning, or Zoe, as he is sometimes called, played most of his career with the Miami Heat. His number retired. He was on defense and twice named NBA Defensive Player of the Year. After his parents divorced, home life wasn't easy on Alonzo. Already 6 feet tall at the age of 12, the situation was made better when he went to live with a family friend who had extensive experience fostering children. So that's one thing. And one thing about foster care, because at one point I kind of juggled it around a little in my head years ago. I was thinking about fostering one of my sorority sisters, Shantae. She's no longer a foster parent, but she fostered for a while. So some people do it because their heart is in it. And guess what? Some people do it as a paycheck. Some people do it as a money making source of income. And there were times when I was a foster care worker, and when you decide to, when you decide to become a foster parent, there are some classes you have to take and get certified or whatever. But the agency I was with, we were very clear on letting potential foster parents know, if you have to have an income already, like, don't try doing this so you can get like a check, like it's a side hustle or something like that. So we will be very clear with the potential parents, just to let them know. And there were times where the foster parent would call you and say, Miss Pitts, I didn't get my check this month. I'm like, okay, all right, let me I'll reach out. I'll see what the status is or whatever. But I will be thinking in the back of my mind, like, now, if you can't care for these kids, maybe you shouldn't have them, because you sweating me. You sweating me about this check. So I respect my clients and they respected me. So I never had any big problems with it, but that would come up. This one foster parent, was she on my caseload? Yeah, she was. And this was another example of kinship, because the case came in because The little boy, he was 2 or 3, and his mother was a prostitute. Some call it working girl, woman of the night, whatever you want to call it. That's She was a young lady, and the case came in because it came in the ACS. So that's who I work for now. But anyway, it comes there first, and then it comes to the private sector. It comes to the agency, the foster care agency. So anyway, so yeah, his mother was a prostitute, and they rented a room. They shared a room together in like a house or something. And I think that this mother, she had she had a routine, and I think that this particular night, I she told me no, but she said that I my theory or hypothesis is that she probably was banking on that he slept longer than she could go out and come back in, go do her thing and come back in. And I think she's done it before. So typically when parents roll the dice like that, 9 times out of 10 they've done it before. And she was probably just crossing her fingers like, hurry up, let's get this done. I left my kid. So this particular night he got up, and this little boy was very bright. He got up, put his own clothes on, and went outside looking for his mother. So the case came in because law enforcement saw him on the corner at like 3 in the morning, like a 3-year-old, and he just was on the corner. And they were asking him, "What you doing out here, young man?" And he said, "I'm looking for my mother." So the case came in, and and it was investigated. Of course, it was indicated because we wouldn't be involved if it wasn't. So her sister or her half sister or something like that, her sister stepped up and was like, "Okay, I'll take my nephew or my cousin or however they were related." So that's an example of kinship foster care. So he didn't have to go to a stranger. And when I interviewed him, I said, "So what were you doing out there?" And he just said, "I was, in his 3-year-old voice, he said, I was looking for my mommy." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Were you scared?" He was like, "No." And I said, "So then what happened?" And then he was like, babbling and talking and all that stuff. And he said, "And then I went to school." So school is where I work right now. Where I work right now is where the children live. They straight up live there. We're open 24 hours a day, and they live there. And I use the word live there because a lot of them live there. No one is able to care for them. They have no family or friends that are willing or able to take the child in. And so where else are they going to go? So they live where I work. So, and I knew when he said that, I knew exactly. I'm like, "Oh Lord, he didn't went to the he didn't went to the place and everything." So I'm like, okay, so that's kinship. That was so back on the hustle. So this foster mother, I'm not gonna say that she was hustling per se, but she figured out a way to make it work for her. I guess she had a 4-bedroom home with a finished basement. So the basement, she had like 2 sets of bunk beds in the basement. And that's 4 kids. That's straight up 4 kids. That's 4 checks, basically. And back then, this was a long time ago. So back then, the average payment or stipend was roughly, this is normal foster care, probably about $1,200 a month. So you do the math. She had 4 beds down there, and I guess whenever they needed her, she was there. I'm not really sure if she had them all at once or if she had kids for it all at once. But the boy on my caseload, she had room for him. So and then that's different from therapeutic foster care. So I was a therapeutic foster care worker for some time. Those particular children, the stipend is more. Back then, it's more now. I know it's more now in 2022, but this was back in, I don't even feel like trying to think of the year. But a therapeutic foster care child, the rate or the stipend it was around 2,000 a month. you know. So what you would see sometimes, not all the time, but you would be, we were not surprised when we saw foster parents pushing for their kid to get a diagnosis. So the foster care, the therapeutic child, this child is either on some sort of psychotropic medication, or some sort of psychiatric issues. They have a diagnosis, maybe some sort of disability, like an emotional disability or a learning disability or something like that. So, in order to be considered a therapeutic foster child, it has to be some sort of diagnosis of some sort. But I was like, and I'm like, why would you want to label the kid on purpose? But it happens. It happens. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. Pierce Brosnan. This font is kind of small, but he played James Brown. James Bond. Ugh. Pierce Bronson was brought up by his grandparents. Excuse me, this font is kind of small. While he was when he turned 4, due to his mother moving away, as she was training to be a nurse. However, his grandparents died when he was 6, and after that, he stayed at various relatives until being sent to live in a boarding home until the age 10. To the age of 10. Okay, next one. Seal. Born to a Brazilian father and Nigerian mother, Seal's life began by being immediately placed with a foster family in Essex. He spent the first 4 years of his life in this particular home, then returned to the care of his biological parents. Although his father was very strict and often physically, I'm sure abusive. I don't know. It cut off. They didn't went to the next person. I'm pretty sure, physical abuse. Coco Chanel. At the age of 12, Gabrielle Bonheur, Bonheur, also known as Coco Chanel, suffered the loss of her mother and was then sent alongside with her sister to live in an orphanage. This foster care facility was run by the Congregation of the Sacred Heart of Mary, founded to care for the poor and neglected. However, going on to become one of the most well-known fashion icons in the 20th century, she managed to escape the sadness of her childhood and move forward to a successful future. So, okay. So, Lorraine Pascal, I'll throw that one in. As a foster child in the 1970s, Lorraine Pascal, a former model who became a TV chef, spent a significant amount of time in foster care as a child. Lorraine created a BBC program, Fostering in Me, which details her experiences of her fostering childhood, with the first 18 months of her life being spent in foster care, jumping from fostering to fostering, home to home. Then and then she was adopted and began her success in the spotlight, selling over 1 million cooking books. Provided her rocky start to life didn't hinder her ambition. So here's the big one, the big paper, the big thing. This has a lot of people on it. So I'm not going through all of these people. Some of them I do not know. The good thing is they have pictures to everyone. So even if I don't know the name, I can grab the face. But so this comes from, it's a website called fosterfocusmag.com. So this is it's a publication based out of Pennsylvania. And this whole website is geared and focused. It's a monthly magazine that deals exclusively and entirely with the foster care industry. Those are their words, not mine. And that word industry, that's a real word, because it is an industry. Because at the end of the day, I've seen through my journey through the child welfare system, sometimes it feels like you're the only one that care about the kids. And then you get to see the bureaucracy behind it and the red tape behind it and all the behind the stuff behind the scenes about, people are really worried of it's a money making industry on both sides, the parents and the suits. But this particular publication, it has different links and different things that they do. It just if you're interested in, if anybody's interested in the whole entire industry, this fosterfocusmag.com, they cover everything. So the first person is a lot on each page. It's a lot on each page. They got Oprah Winfrey right on the first one. Oprah has been open about her childhood and things like that, but I don't think I ever heard her say she ever went into the system, the foster care system. But anyway, so Oprah Winfrey, and the good thing with this packet, it's not gonna tell me their whole life story, which is good because I gotta keep moving. But it just says Oprah Winfrey, media mogul, kinship care. So, and she talked about living with her granny. I think it was her grandmother, and I think she went to her grandmother's after she became pregnant or something, and she had a stillborn. It was a boy, but that could have been a result of her going to the grandmother's home. Not sure. Um, Bill Clinton, 42nd president, kinship care slash adopted. So I'm assuming his family adopted him. Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's restaurant, he was adopted. LL Bean. I love me some LL Bean. Outfitter. The clothes and shoes. And, he got all the LL Bean stuff. I have a jacket from him. And some house shoes. Came from him. But he was adopted. Let's see. Who else? Like I said before, some of these people I don't know. So I'm going to keep going. Herbert Hoover. Didn't know that. 31st president, kinship care. Vidal Sassoon, stylist, business owner, foster care. Malcolm X, activist, foster care. Nelson Mandela, activist, politician, foster care slash adopted. I was shocked. Dr. Ruth, writer slash sex expert, foster care. And Jesse Jackson, activist, he was adopted. Eleanor Roosevelt, she was the first lady, foster care. Antoine Fisher, writer, foster care. They made a movie about him, the black guy. Maya Angelou, writer, kinship care. I'm gonna just throw this one in just because he's a fashion designer. Tony Shellman, I don't recognize his face or his name, fashion designer, black man, adopted. Excuse the flipping of the papers. Let's see. Who else? Some of these people. So while I'm flipping, I'll continue to talk about this whole thing. One of my when you have a job like this, when you're in this field, it's you got to be careful because you'll burn out really quickly because it takes a toll on you. And so you got to be really careful. You'll find yourself being at home thinking about the kids and worrying about the kids and stuff like that, which is really unhealthy. So they would always encourage everybody to take care of yourself. Exercise, meditate, take days off if you need them. Even a mental health day. Some days it's like I can't do it today. I can't do it today. But let's see. Oh, so back to some a lot of these kids you will never forget them. Never. And two of the boys I had, they were brothers and they lived on Long Island. They lived in Hempstead. So I don't, if you have a car, you good. If you don't, I feel so sorry for foster care workers who are not driving because I think that would drive me crazy. That would just make me whatever. But these two little boys, they were a media case. So we get those a lot too. But so I'm still a foster care worker at this point at in private sector. So that their story was in the media And the mother, the foster care mother, I had a really good rapport with her. She was a nice lady, nice house, and she told me the story because what I found when I started getting my feet wet in this business, when you're a foster care worker, a lot of times you have no clue. The case record is so thick. It's no way I'm going through all of that. Just give me the basics. Let me know what happened. Where am I going? Who am I meeting? You flip through the first few pages just to get the gist of it. But deep down in the middle or at the bottom, that's where it all that's the story right there. And so you really don't know. And then if your supervisor don't know, they just be like, Miss Pitts, just let me know what you see, whatever. So me and this particular foster care mother, we had a good rapport and stuff. And she said, I said, how did they come into care? Because then I'm thinking, like, because I'm not reading it. I ain't about to go through all that. So I'm like, how did they come to you? How did they come into care? And she told me the story. And I was like, oh, my goodness. These two little boys, their mother physically abused them so bad that and I'm sure that mental health is a common denominator with a lot of the parents or whatever. They're unwilling or unable to care for the kids for whatever reasons. But yeah, this is mental health. But anyway, she physically abused these boys so bad. I'm talking about knocking teeth out, breaking bones, slashing faces with a sharp object, just the worst, horrible. So they got discovered because of the mother, after she did all this to them, I guess they was going somewhere. So her and her two boys got on the train, MTA. They got on the subway, bloodied and looking to be damned. Just and people saw them. People saw them on the train. They was riding looking jacked up, bloodied, messed up on the train. So, I don't know if it was an innocent bystanders. The police ride the train as well. I don't know if they saw it. I'm not sure. So that's how they were. That's how they came into care. So, and then when I look at the boys, they both had artificial teeth. You could tell that they were artificial because they were extremely straight to be that age. You could tell those weren't their teeth. And then the scars on their face, they healed up pretty good. But they had scars, maybe like 2 or 3, one across the nose, one down the cheek, stuff like that. So they mended up pretty well, but the psychological damage will always be there. And when you're in foster care, especially therapeutic, they were in a therapeutic home. You have to take them to therapy regularly. You can't miss. They have to. They all got to go to school regularly. They all have to get medicals regularly. But so yeah, even though it's mandated and the foster parent is made aware, you have to get these children to their services, because if not, then we're gonna have to find another home then if you can't fulfill the obligations of being a foster parent. So back to services and counseling and stuff like that. I'm sure it helped. I hope it helped, but those scars will never heal. The ones on their faces may have, but yeah. So I'll never forget that stuff. They were some nice kids. And then the foster mother, and this is why I decided not to become a foster parent, because I'm thinking like, well, I don't really have a room. I was thinking about doing infants. So all you need is a crib, and that's kind of like an emergency. I was thinking about being an emergency foster parent. So it's kind of like right here, right now, the baby here, come get it. But then I talked myself out of it because I was thinking like, oh God, when it's time to return them back, I didn't fell in love with it, more than likely. So I'm thinking like, I don't think I'll be a good candidate for that, because I'll mess around, fall in love with the baby, and then what? Now I'm hurt, So I don't know. So moving on back to the topic at hand, Les Brown. I wonder where he is now. Les Brown, speaker, author, television personality, foster care slash adopted. Nancy Reagan, First Lady. She was in kinship care. She was adopted. Let's see, some of these people I don't know. Oh, they sectioned it off, so we're getting into entertainment next. Gene Siskel, remember Siskel and Ebert? I used to watch that even as a child. I enjoy watching that show. The author, film critic, kinship care. Let's see who else. Okay, now we're moving on to entertainers. Richard Pryor, I think he was open with that. Comedian, actor, kinship, foster care. I love the movie JoJo Dancer. And that was pretty much in a nutshell, was loosely based around his life. From what I hear, that the part where he was drinking and poured the alcohol on himself, like he wanted to die and commit suicide, and that's how he kind of lit himself on fire. But I think I saw a stand up with him one time. He said it didn't happen like that. He was trying to smoke some crack, and it just went wrong. But in the movie, the scene, I do remember the scene. He was looking for crack on the floor, and I think he found a rock or something like that, and he tried to smoke it. Then he was like, no, like he just had enough, and then that's when he poured the alcohol on him and lit himself on fire. But he said he didn't really do it like that. He was just trying to smoke crack. But Tim McGraw, country singer, he was adopted. Keegan Michael Key, actor, comedian, he was adopted. He was on Keegan. He did this bit on, I think that was Mad TV. I think he was on Mad TV. Funny actor. Who else? Anita Baker, singer, foster care slash adopted. Shout out to Detroit. She from Detroit. Grandmaster Flash, didn't know that. Rapper slash DJ, foster care. Pitbull, it says rapper, foster care. The bald guy, Pitbull. Kirk Franklin, musician, entertainer, kinship care, adopted. Andy Dick, actor, comedian, he was adopted. Ouch. Excuse the background noise. There's a lot, boy. So that's what I wanted to relay this to my kids, but I never got a chance to. Foster care ain't the end of the world. Sure. Ella Fitzgerald, singer, kinship care. Tina Turner, singer, kinship care. Willie Nelson, singer slash activist, foster care. Carol Burnett, foster care. She was in kinship. Tiffany Haddish, she's been very vocal about that. I knew that. Some of her stand up is talks about how she, Tiffany Haddish, actress, went to foster care, but she also shared that her mother was unable to care for her. Her mother got into a serious car accident, and so she had TMI, traumatic brain injury. So Tiffany was saying that the wreck was so serious that her mother, maybe she wasn't functioning. She couldn't function mentally, and she couldn't raise the kids. But she was saying that she never saw it as a bad thing being in foster care, because she got a chance to go to different homes and meet new people and learn different cultures and things of that nature. And she's Jewish. I think she had a bat mitzvah. So maybe she stayed in a Jewish home for a while. I don't know, but that's where that comes from. She said she's been around, and she doesn't feel bad about it, because she was able to learn a lot. Different people's culture. Earl DMX Simmons, rapper slash actor, foster care. I knew that one because he was on Iyanla Fix My Life. And after I saw him on Iyanla Fix My Life, I was really impressed by him as a person. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all that yelling and barking and stuff like that. He was able to express himself openly, freely, about how he feel about this, that, and the third. And But it took a turn when Iyanla got into that childhood. She was like, let's talk about it. So that's when he started to get emotional, and he just felt he was a wreck. He was a wreck, and he said on there, his mother straight up gave him away. She pulled up to the place and was like, take him. So, Iyanla was, working on his brain and his mind and stuff. And he said he felt like she threw me away. She ain't want me no more. And I could see how he felt, because it happens. It happens. But, and then it got real bad because one of DMX's sons was on the show with him. That relationship, it on TV, I was clutching the pearls like, oh, the relationship wasn't good, and you could see it. You could see it, and then it got to the point where they did a part two. I think they did a part two. I'm not sure if it was a part two. All I saw was, or maybe it was a promo for the part two, and I never got a chance to see it. But from what I saw, they got into an argument. Him and the son got into an argument, and then DMX said, basically he went into that mode of, I don't give a F. I don't know. But he was like, well, I ain't gonna never see you again. And the next time you see me, it'll be at my funeral and all that stuff. It was just sad to watch. Very sad to watch. Moving forward, Ray Charles, a singer, pianist, foster care. We know his story. Sylvester Stallone, actor, director, foster care. Frank Stallone, the brother, same singer / actor. And that's interesting because nowadays they be together. On the red carpets, they take their mother everywhere and stuff. So I'm like, I wonder what happened. I guess they reunited. I don't know. Which is good. We always shoot for reunification of the family. Leonardo DiCaprio, actor / director, Kinship Care, Eartha Kitt. I think I said that was another one. Yeah, some of these overlap. Eartha Kitt, if I didn't mention it before. Billie Holiday, singer, Kinship Care. Who else? Jack Nicholson, actor, Kinship Care. The Game, rapper, foster care. I'm not going to get through these. Exhibit, actor / rapper, foster care / kinship care. Rosie Perez, actress, foster care. Faith Hill, country singer. It says singer, but she was adopted. Keisha Cole, we know that story. I used to watch that show. Singer, foster care, kinship care. Yep, I forgot her mother's name. Dang, I forgot her mother's name. Her mother made the show. I used to watch for her, like, ooh. And then her sister and all the drama and stuff. I was on that show. But, yeah. Let's see, who else? Tommy Davidson. He's been open about that. I've heard him talk about that. Comedian, actor. He was adopted. James Brown, Godfather of Soul, foster care. Yeah. Jamie Foxx. I think I heard him say something about that too. Actor / singer. He was adopted. Snooki from the Jersey Shore. Didn't know that. Reality television. Adopted. Gary Coleman, actor. He was adopted. That explains it. Because remember when Gary Coleman wanted to sue his mother and them? Because I think they were misappropriating his money, I think. I can't remember if he won or not. So that might explain it. They would probably do that. He probably was like, "Give me my money. You ain't my mama." Bo Diddley, singer / guitarist, Kinship Care. He was adopted. Some of these people, I'm like, okay, Little Richard, singer, Kinship Care, adopted. Daryl DMC McDaniels, Run DMC, / rapper, foster care. He was adopted. Eric LaSalle, Actor, foster care, Soul Glow. That was the movie coming to America. Mm, funny movie. Mike Tyson. He's been very open about it. World champion boxer, foster care slash adopted. Babe Ruth. I wonder. Well, I guess back in those days they had the straight up orphanage, like the boarding school or whatever. But Babe Ruth, professional baseball. Simone Biles, gymnast, Olympian, kinship care slash adopted. I just thought that she was living with a family because it was easier for her to train and things like that. So man, I don't know. I don't know the inside story with Simone Biles, but when she was on, because I like watching the watching gymnastics, but her mother comes to the meets and stuff. But I always thought she was in a way that is fostering, but maybe the family. It says kinship care, so that's family, and then adopted. So maybe the family that I was thinking about, they were just helping her out, fostering her for the Olympics to make it easier for her to get to trainings and stuff like that. I don't know. Don't know her story. I was getting into athletes and stuff. So it's a lot of different athletes. A lot of them I don't know. Whole lot of football players. Whole lot of football players. Basketball. Some of these I've read already. I'm gonna try to get through it. Let's flip faster. Let's see. So back to this topic. I'm gonna keep talking while I'm flipping. So the investigative work, that's that thing. That's knocking on them doors and don't know what's on the other side. And you just be like, oh, that job. Now that's a job. That CPS stuff ain't no joke. I don't do that no more. Thank God. All right, so yeah, so that's about it. Aristotle, philosopher, kinship care. Who did the research? I want to know how they know that. But this fosterfocusback.com, it seemed like they seem like they know what they're talking about, and it's a big publication as well. But so anyway, so back to this whole topic with the children or whatever, and that was my whole thing with the kids. That was my favorite part of doing that type of work. Talking to them. I like the older ones. They listen. They'd be really listening, and I would love to give them encouragement and let them know this is not the end of the world. Don't, like one young man, he had to be about 16, ain't been to school since forever. And when we interview children, we learn how to do that. So we can interview, we call it interviewing babies. You can't because they can't talk, but we can interview from 0 to 2, 2 to 5, like that. And they show us how to do that. So if it's like 0 to 2 or something like that, you look for other things because an infant cannot talk and stuff like that. So you look at other things to make sure they're meeting their milestones. So, you just look for mobility and eye contact and, stuff like that and all that stuff. If they, how their demeanor and things of that nature. But the older they get, it gets better because they can talk back to you, and kids are really cool. And this one little girl, this one little girl, was she in foster care? Nope, this was a straight up investigation. But anyway, she was at her grandmother's. And you ask them, you ask them the same questions over and over again. I ask them what their favorite foods and what they like to eat. And really, I'm asking that because I want to know, are you eating? You know what I'm saying? That's really why I'm asking, but it's just a way, you find your niche and you find a way to get the information that you need to make a proper assessment. But, so I ask them all what you like to eat, your favorite subjects in school. I'm like, are you there? Do you go? Are you learning? Are you paying attention? So I ask them like stuff like that. So this one little girl, I said, so what you want to be when you grow up? And she was looking at me, and She said, I want a big purse. She looking at my bag and she said, and I want some pretty earrings. So she looking at me, and then her eyes went down to my feet. I had some sandals on, and she went right down to my feet, and she said, "And I want a big toe." My big toes are. My mother say I got the Jones toe, so my big toe is kind of like a round. Some may say it's big. I don't know, but I thought that was so cute. So it's just little stuff like that stick with you. And I've worked in other aspects of the child welfare industry, such as group homes, um, um, treatment facilities for youth. That was one of my favorites because them boys was bad. Ooh, they were so bad, and it was the most fulfilling job I've ever had in this field because they were all there for. It was 5 different units. Each unit had concentrated on a different, like one unit was called Hope, one unit was called Fortitude, another unit was called. They were positive names, just to and it was up on big letters in the wall on the wall and stuff like that. But they were a hoot. They were a hoot, and they were there for either fire starting, starting fires, sexual deviation. They has problems with that, and court adjudication. So the judge is like, listen, go. Just I'm tired of seeing you. So those were the 3 different reasons why those particular residents lived there, and they were a hoot and a half, just as bad as they want to be. But it's kind of messed up because it's not their fault. They didn't ask to be born, and they just stay there. I got a bunch of stories about that. I'm not gonna get into it, but all in all, so yeah, I'm at 51:37. Good. I'm still pushing for an hour. I'm gonna get better and longer. And I got some other stuff. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do another one maybe tomorrow. Anyway, but yeah, this is a money making industry. Oh, it saves lives, and then you got foster homes where this was years ago, not the current House of Horrors with that big family. This was a smaller family. Them boys look, and this was a foster home too. They would take family photos and stuff like that. Oh my God, they look like skeletons in the photo, gaunt in the face, cheeks going in, all of that. And when it came out, one always escape and get help. That's what this other House of Horrors that's really in the news, the most recent House of Horrors. But this one was the same way. One of them got sick and tired, or they was hungry, couldn't go no more, and that family got discovered because he was one of the neighbors saw him going through somebody's garbage for food. So yeah, it could save a kid. Foster care can save a kid's life, or it could hurt a child. Pick your poison. And it's sad. It's really sad. And then it comes down to the workers are overworked. Caseloads are through the roof. Some workers don't go and say that they did and falsify the documentation. So when you find yourself going down that road, get out. Because you're not helping. You're not helping, and that's something I had to come to grips with myself because I had got burnt out. I've been in this field at this particular agency for close to 15 years, but if I count up all of my years, I think I'm looking at 20 years. I think maybe more. This is 15. I know I only been out here 23 years. I don't know. In the 20, about 20 years total, bouncing around, whatever. So yeah, I forgot the point I was about to make, but it could help and it could hurt. And we done seen it all. We done seen it all. A lot of stuff going on in foster homes. I get nervous. You know what? Did y'all know you could be in foster care up until you are maybe 24 or something like that, your early 20s. I like when kids understand that and they use it to their advantage, because there are a lot of programs out there. They can go to college. They can do things. If you got that serious one, that one that's like, you know what, ain't no stopping me. And then you got a worker that's like, yeah, we gonna do this. Those are the success stories, because there are success stories. I witnessed one adoption before. I was in there boo-hooing. I'm boo-hooing on the side, sitting on the side, just holding back the tears. I'm like, oh. And then the kid be standing there, the parent be standing there, and then the judge go through all her stuff. She go through her little list. Basically, she's saying, he yours. That's it now. You legal now. This kid belonged to you. So it goes that, it's a really nice moment to witness. So, yeah, that's cool. But anyway, that's about it, because I try to keep structure. But that's it. If you're considering being a foster parent, I say do it. I'm not. I'm not. Oh, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm not. You know what? Let me not say that. Let me not say that. I'm not gonna say that. But right now, I'm not interested whatsoever, because you gotta be a special somebody. Oh, back to the boys on that lived in Hempstead, New York. The mother told me, when she was telling me about the face slashing and the teeth knocked out and all that stuff. She said, Miss Pitts, what? She said, why do they act the way they do? I said, Miss So-and-so, she said, I give them everything they need. I give them what they want. I make sure that they are comfortable. They eat well. And she said, they are great boys. She said, but sometimes they do things. And she said, they turn around and bend over for their butt to kiss. And she said, why are they like that? And I said, well, and I tried to explain it the best way I could, because they train us so much. I've been through so much training in my career that I'm like, okay, this is what may be the problem. A lot of times, children who move around a lot, they move around so much, they do not even believe that you want them. Like they look at you like, yeah, you gonna throw me away too. Okay, yeah. Even if it's a loving home, they don't feel that way. Basically, they just don't. They feel like throwaway children, and they'll do things like they do all type of stuff. So the video that we watched, the training I was in, they were going down a lot of stuff just to paint the picture. Like, you might see something like this. Like they might defecate in front of your bedroom door, so you could see it when you get up in the morning the next day. And it's like, why would you do that? What would make you do that? I had a mother tell me one time, it wasn't my case. It was somebody else's family. But the worker was like, oh, I gotta move so-and-so. I gotta look for placement for so-and-so, because this young lady, this foster mother, had a white couch in the living room. So I guess she had one of them living rooms like, look, don't you come in here. Don't come in here. That little girl, she had to be 6 or 7. She defecated. She pooped on the lady's white couch. The worker said that lady returned her like a pair of shoes. Like, no. So, and it make you think, why you do that? Why you do that? And you just be like, oh, so these parents, some of them can handle it, some of them can't. So if your heart is in it, there's kids out there, and you might get lucky. You might get lucky, or you might not. I don't know. But anyway, so that's it for this particular topic. Please like, share, and subscribe. Once again, my name is Erica LaShawn, and I'll see you next time. Bye.